Hello, this is the review of the Pilot Custom 823 Demonstrator version with a FA nib. First, let's get into the packaging the pen comes in. I bought this from Japan directly, so it's a different package than you would get in the US. It comes in this box and just basic stuff. It's nothing special. Next, let's get into the pen itself. As you can see, this is a demonstrator version, which is only available in Japan, as far as I know. This is not available in the US market yet, and this is a Pilot on the clip, and it's a pretty stiff clip, but it's very practical to use. It has a ballpoint clip. On the band, it says Custom 823. It has 3 stars, which have lacquer inside them, as far as I know. It says made in Japan. It's a very classic looking, cigar looking shaped pen, and it's a vacuum filler, as you can see by the rod. Now let's get into the nib. The most special thing about this pen is that number 15 size FA nib. You see those slits on the sides, the cut that allows for the flexing. This is a modern flex nib. This is the older brother of the number 10 size FA nib that Pilot has. And it's a very comfortable hold, and it's a pretty long pen, and it's very comfortable for me. And it is very balanced when you post it as well, which is a good sign, because some people like to post this pen, and you can post this, so it's pretty good. The rod makes it balance because it's made out of metal. Now, let's get into just general comparisons to give an idea of how big or long this pen is. First, we have the Montblanc 146. This is everyone compares it to. And as you can see, it's longer than Montblanc 146, but it's pretty much the same girth as the Montblanc 146. Then you have the Pelican 805, excuse me. And all these pens are, and the Sailor 1911 large, all these pens are not in the same price range, but in the same market. And yeah, they both pretty much have the same girth, and you have the Lime Safari just for comparison. As you can see, Lime Safari is not a small pen to begin with. Now when they're uncapped, as you can see, pretty much even up. This Custom 823 is longer than all of them, but pretty much same girth. As you can see, if you can see the nib sections, it doesn't flare out as much, but it does flare more than the Montblanc 146. But has similar flaring out as the Sailor 1911 large, which makes it very comfortable to hold for me personally. And when you post them, as you can see, comparison when they're posted, it matches up well with other pens. It's longer than most of them except for the 146. But in general, it is very comfortable when posted. I don't post my pens, but if you do, then it should be fine. When posted, it's pretty good looking too. Now, in terms of just how the nibs, like compared to other nibs, it's just different nib because of it's an FA nib. There's a size, you can see, it's pretty good size nib. It's 15 size, which is good size with the number 6 size nibs, which the 1.46 is. And the Mate 5 and 1911 large, similar size nibs, and doesn't have that much detail as other nibs because it is specialty nib just for flexing. So it's a modern flex nib, which Pilot classifies as FA nib, and they all have plastic feeds. And I just want to do a quick comparison to the regular Custom 823, just so you guys know the difference. So pretty much the same thing. This is the amber version. I just want to compare the nibs. So you can see slits where they cut it off for that optimum flexing, and there's not much design. Nib sections, the feet, and everything's the same. It's just the one is demonstrator, one is amber, and one has a regular fine nib. So you can see the decorations, whereas the FA nib doesn't have much decorations at all. And they're both 14 karat gold nibs. This is a vacuum filler pen, so I decided to ink it up with organic brown. As you can see, it's pretty easy to ink it up. So it holds good enough ink. It holds a lot of ink. But when you ink it up one time doesn't fully ink up. There's techniques to how you can fully ink up the barrel, but I usually don't. It's enough ink to begin with. And you can write this pen for just regular handwriting, and it's perfectly fine. It's like a extra fine Japanese nib. But if you put a little more pressure, it becomes like a fine Japanese nib. So it's good for everyday writing because it's like a hard flex. It's not a soft flex like the number 10 size FA nib. So if you're looking for a very soft flexing nib, then this is not for you, because this is more of a hard flex, which makes it good for both regular writing and occasional fun flex writing, because it does not railroad, skip, or anything like that, even though it has plastic feet. You would think for plastic feet on the flex nib that would be a disaster, but that is not the case with this one. And obviously, because it's like a fine, extra fine on regular handwriting, there's definitely feedback, and that's expected of a Japanese fine, extra fine, normal writing. But it's not like scratchiness, if that makes sense. And obviously, reverse writing is very not good because it's a very pinpoint to begin with. And as you can see, it flexes very well, and there's no railroading or skipping, which is very surprising for modern flex nibs. As you can see, the kind of line reach you can get if you just do it slowly or just like light-handedly. So this is good for me because I don't flex as much, but when I'm journaling or just taking notes, which I use this for taking notes a lot, occasionally I get bored, so I just flex with it. And this makes it good double use pen where you can just use it for notes and also occasional fun. This is a side view of the pen, just so you can see the pen more up close. It's just a beautiful pen to begin with too. The nib looks beautiful. Even if it doesn't have much decorations, it looks very classy. The slits look very even. There's no defects I found in my pen. And I got this from the Tokyo quilt shop in Tokyo. And that's where they sell the FA nib with custom 83 Demonstrator. So that's where I got it from. It was pretty expensive. I got it during the coronavirus when it started. So obviously I had to pay premium shipping, but I believe it was worth it. There's no railroad, there's no skipping with this, which is very surprising for me because most modern flex nibs, number one problem is it skips and railroads, and the feet cannot keep up with the nib, which is not the case with this. So I'm very glad with that. Most people get like F9 feet from Flexible Nib Factory for their 15 size FA nib, but I didn't have to do that. I got it straight from the Tokyo Quilt pen shop, and it was great. Now let's get into pros and cons. Pros is obviously the nib. That's the main point of this FA nib. You're buying this pen if you're buying for FA nibs because of the FA nib. So the nib is great. It's enjoyable to write with. I enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that it's two-way nib in terms of I can use it for just regular writing and I can use it for occasional fun writing, which makes it a great nib for daily use. And it's a vacuum filler, which is a great thing because it holds a lot of ink. And it's pretty reliable too. You can unscrew the entire, you can disassemble the pen essentially, but you shouldn't be doing that too often. That's not a good thing for the pen, but that's possible. So that's a good thing. You can clean it out maybe after like a year or two of owning the pen, just so you fully clean out everything and grease it up. The size and weight. The rod makes the pen balanced because the rod is like throughout the entire pen basically. So it's a good pen for that. And yeah, the weight's manageable. The size, it's a good size in terms of slim, and it's not too girthy. In terms of cons, one of the cons is that it's a hard flex, which can be a problem for some people because they were expecting a soft flex, but they expect flexing nibs to be very soft, like vintage flex. But that's not the case with this. This is a hard flex. If you want a soft flex, then you should go with the number 10 size FA nib, which is very soft, but not this one. Another con is that it's very difficult to clean. The problem with this is you don't disassemble the pen every time you want to clean, or you're just going to mess up the pen. So the only way to clean it is just keep flushing it using the vacuum filling system, which can be tedious. So usually when most people use a certain ink on this pen for a month or two before cleaning it because of how long it takes to clean this. And lastly, it's the price. It's cost more than the regular custom 823s. Not only is it because it's Demonstrator version, but because of the nib, which is very hard to find. And I got it from Tokyo Pen Shop for $300 retail, but I had to pay about $50 more because of shipping. Due to the coronavirus, their postal system was shut down, so I had to pay more last year in the beginning of coronavirus started for extra shipping. But overall, I think it's worth it at that price, especially this cool Demonstrator version. Some cons that I haven't listed here, but I find like minor is the fact that it's not fully demonstrated, like the nib section isn't fully demonstrated, or the cap. I wish they made it fully demonstrated, that would be really cool. And another thing is you have to open it back up occasionally for the ink to flow in, which is not a big deal for me, but kind of messed up the aesthetic for some people. But if that's a problem, then just so you know. But overall, this is a great pen, and it's just very enjoyable to write with. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.